Do you ever feel like you're about to lose your mind over someone chewing loudly? Or maybe the sound of a pen tapping sends a wave of rage through you. If you've ever felt this way, you're not alone. But did you know there's actually a name for it and strategies to help you navigate it? So let's go. Welcome, my stars of Orion. Thank you so much for watching. I'm orionkelly, that autistic guy. I'm all about providing validation and support for autistic people and their loved ones. It's something that affects literally millions of people around the world, but often goes unnoticed. Misophonia. It's not just about being annoyed by noise. It's actually a neurological condition that can turn everyday sounds into emotional triggers. So if you've ever wondered why certain sounds seem to hit a nerve for you in ways that don't for others, we are unpacking what misophonia really is, how you say it correctly, and how I'll say it. Two different things. How it works and what it feels like to live with it. And don't worry, I've got some strategies to help you navigate through it. First up, what is misophonia? Okay, so the term itself translates to hatred of sound, but it's not just a simple dislike of noises. So misophonia is a neurological condition where specific sounds like chewing, breathing, repetitive tapping can trigger a powerful emotional and physical reaction. Now let's talk about DST, decreased sound tolerance. So decreased sound tolerance, DST, is like an umbrella term, and it refers to difficulties tolerating everyday sounds. Misophonia is one specific type of DST. So it's a broad category. Decreased sound tolerance, DST, that includes several distinct conditions related to sound sensitivity. This video is about misophonia, but I'll just briefly touch on the three types in general terms. Okay, and I won't say them correctly. Hyperacusis. An increased sensitivity to the loudness of sounds. So even normal volume sounds can feel painfully loud or overwhelming. So it's a sensitivity to them. Misophonia is a strong emotional reaction. Things like anger, anxiety to specific sounds, often repetitive, human-made, like chewing and tapping. Unlike hyperacusis, misophonia is about the emotional and physical response as opposed to their loudness. And the final subcategory of DST, phonophobia. This is what I have. I hate making phone calls. No, I'm being told that's right. It's a fear or anxiety triggered by certain sounds, often related to specific contexts or experience. Let's dig a little deeper now to get a better understanding of misophonia, because it isn't just about being annoyed by sounds. It's a complex neurological condition. So people that experience misophonia experience heightened sensitivity to specific sounds. And that leads to intense emotional, even physical reactions. Now, these reactions go far beyond what most people feel when something irritates them. In other words, they go far beyond neurotypical standards and expectations of how sounds should annoy or irritate or trigger people. It's disproportionate in neurotypical standards. At the core of this condition is the way the brain processes sound. So if you experience misophonia, your auditory processing system is wired differently, just like your autistic brain. And this causes certain noises to be perceived as overwhelming, distressing, even unbearable. And don't worry, we are going to get to triggers in just a moment, but let's just touch on that specifically. So the specific sounds that act as triggers can vary widely from person to person. That's what makes it so individualized and unique. For some, it could be the way people chew or slurp their drinks. If you ever do that near me, I will end you. This sounds evil. It makes me feel good. For others, it could be repetitive tapping. Oh my God. Pen clicking, sniffing. You got these morons on their laptop, right? or they leave the tapping on their phone sound. Here's an idea. Blow your nose, mate. These sounds, they might seem harmless to most people. Oh, well, that's just living life. But they can feel like an actual assault on our senses when you experience misophonia. Now, just a touch on genetic stuff. There is evidence suggesting genetic factors may influence DST, particularly in those conditions like hyperacusis and misophonia. However, the exact genetic mechanisms are not yet fully understood, and this is still a research work in progress. Symptoms of misophonia. How does it manifest? Well, let's explore that, because the way you experience misophonia can really shape your day-to-day life. So we'll start off with one of the big boys, the hallmark symptom of misophonia. Intense anger or rage, triggered by that specific sound. Okay, maybe I do become the Hulk when certain sounds trigger me, but it's not that the anger or the rage is directed at the person in a personal way, but when certain sounds trigger me, I do react. It's not like it startles me, although I do get startled. It's not like it startles me, these particular triggering sounds. It's like I just get so angry, full of rage. Why did you do that sound? Right? You know, when someone might drop something, or someone might be doing those sounds that trigger me, slapping their lips together when they chew. Give us a spell, mate, right? Sniffing when they can just blow their nose, click and click. It's just, I don't know how I can explain it. Whether it's that repetitive stuff, click, 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 tap, 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 tap. It just triggers this intense anger and rage. And it's for the person who may have caused the sound or been around the sound, I don't even know if they can comprehend it, how that could possibly make you so angry. It can also bring anxiety and distress, another symptom. So when you're exposed to certain triggering sounds, you feel on edge. You can have a panic attack. You could be panicked, right? You might be desperate to get out of that situation where those sounds are. And that will lead you to avoiding, right? Avoidance behavior. So someone might actually go out of their way to avoid environments or people they know are associated with these types of sounds. That could be as simple as, I associate this person with being clumsy and always dropping heavy things. It's not good for us, but it leads to these avoidant behaviors. These are symptoms, by the way, right? These aren't like justifications or anything. In addition to emotional responses, misophonia often comes with heightened you say this word yourself, physiological reactions. Stuff you, mate. People might notice an increased heart rate, right? Or you start sweating, muscle tension when they hear this triggering sound. Okay, so there's the emotional stuff, but there's also the physical stuff. And these physical symptoms from that triggering sound can seem really intense. Like you don't want to be in that body. And it just creates this cycle of not only the emotional, but a physical distress. Now let's go through some bullet points to give you a bit more of an understanding of some of the more general symptoms. So there's an irritability or an agitation. So even subtle exposure to triggering sounds can actually result in restlessness, irritability. You might have a heightened inability to focus. I do definitely get irritable and agitated around sounds. And these are going, you can get angry, but these are definitely going to be those ones that kind of build. You know, when someone, they might tap something, but they keep doing it, or they start typing on their phone or computer, but they keep doing it. It builds. This one I can really relate to. Disgust. Seriously. So not just anger and anxiety. As someone who experiences misophonia, you may actually sometimes be triggered by a sound and feel a strong sense of disgust towards that sound, as if it needs to go away. Get out of here right now, like fire in the house. I mean, it's funny to me because I experience it. I mean, it's not funny to experience, I guess, but I experience it, so I can relate. I'm laughing because I can relate to these so much. Panic attacks, like we said, exposing yourself to triggering sounds can lead to panic attacks. So shortness of breath, dizziness, feeling like you're losing control. Now, if there's lots of intense emotional responses like we've talked about, another clear symptom is emotional exhaustion. So if you're constantly anticipating triggers and managing your reactions to what's going to happen next. You're going to be fatigued. You're going to put yourself into emotional burnout. You're going to be dysregulated. You're going to feel drained by the end of each day. The war zone of sounds. You're going to be hypervigilant. Another symptom. Yeah, you see, you develop this heightened awareness of the potential triggers. You're constantly scanning the environment. You can't relax. You can't turn off. That might lead to a difficulty in concentrating because the distress caused by triggering sounds can actually make it challenging to not only concentrate and focus, but to really be present in anything. This can be kids at school. This could be adults at work, just at home living life. Eye contact is something that makes life really hard for autistic people. But when you're experiencing misophonia, visual stimuli can actually make it worse. So visual stimuli can amplify the reaction, the response. Does that make sense? So watching someone chew that's chewing loudly, it actually amplifies it. You wonder why you get so agitated and angry and filled with rage. It's like, what is that horrible sound? Why are you making that horrible sound? It's really weird, right? So the bottom line is you just, all right, I'm going to avoid looking. I'm going to avoid eye contact. I'm going to avoid looking in the direction of the sound. It keeps me out of the court system. I don't know what that laugh was, but it wasn't sexy at all. Not that I am. I'm just saying it didn't make me look very nice. Feelings of shame or embarrassment. The intensity of reactions can cause feelings of shame. Now, if others don't actually get what's going on here, they don't understand that, you experience misophonia, right? DST. They're going to misinterpret your responses. They're going to say, whoa, that's an overreaction. Like that is completely out of proportion to what you should be expecting. And that's going to lead you to feel embarrassed. And that's going to lead you to feel a strong sense of shame. Not that autistic people don't experience it anyway. There's no autistic person living, I don't believe, on this planet right now that doesn't feel a sense of shame just living and breathing on this planet. That's just my thoughts and opinion. Also, an increased sensitivity to other sensory inputs. So when you experience misophonia, you experience increased sensitivity to other things, the other senses, light, touch, movement, right? Because our sensory processing system, they're already reactive, right? So everything is going to trigger them. This is not a good way to live. Now let's talk about some triggers. We talked about symptoms, how it makes you feel. Let's go through just some basic triggers. And we've touched on this already. Okay, so some common misophonia triggers. Clearly it's triggered by different sounds for different people. One of the most common triggers for misophonia is chewing sounds. Have you ever had to sit next to someone as they eat a crunchy piece of fruit? You have? How are you still alive? What is your secret? Have you had to sit next to someone smacking their gums while they eat? What are you doing? Put the food in your mouth, close your mouth, chew your food, swallow it. What's the smacking? Are you disciplining the food? What's happening here? Right? Even soft chewing. These noises are absolutely top of the pops, my friend. And I made a noise then that's top of the pops. Top of the pops. And that's another autism paradox, right? We are triggered by such sounds, yet we can make the same sounds. So this isn't about us being perfect, right? And yes, you're right. I am saying that I could make the same loud slurping sounds and not be triggered by it. But if you sat next to me and made the same loud eating or slurping noises, I would be intensely triggered by it. Why that is, I don't know. You tell me. It's coming from me, maybe. I don't know. I can't help you with that. I'm just trying to be honest here. Eating with anyone is almost a no-no. It's so overwhelming. I promise you, I will make my breakfast in the morning and I'll go to a different room and just get it down as quickly as possible and get back into the family. But it just doesn't make a lot of sense for us to eat together as a rule because it's just too triggering. It sparks all those feelings we talked about: anger, anxiety, agitation, frustration. Not good. Another trigger for misophonia is those types of clearing noises, like you're clearing your throat or you're sniffling. Is it sniffing or sniffling? Is it sniffing? That's a sniff, or is it you got this? Because don't people go, hang on a second, mate, you've got the sniffles. Do they say you've got the sniffings? I think he's got the sniffings. Sorry, mate. It sounds like you got the sniffings there. Do you have the sniffings? No, I haven't got the sniffings. But you're sniffing. Yeah, that's right. I'm sniffing. What was that? That was a sniff. Okay. Are you doing them again? Yeah, I am. Well, then that's the sniffles. Where'd the L come from? So it's a sniff, and I'm sniffing. But if I do lots of them over a series of time, I've got the sniffles. Is that what you're saying? Because I'll be honest with you, I don't even know what's happening right now. All I'm saying is it's another frequent trigger. These are repetitive. This is one of the issues. They're like these unconscious noises. People can make these noises repetitively and unconsciously. And it's pretty hard to escape these things in shared spaces, right? Whether at school, at work, public transport, at home, even at home, absolutely. Anywhere, really. And when you have misophonia and you hear someone, just one sniff, just one clearing the throat, this is actual torture, my friends. I mean, they say, people go, oh, it's like nails on a chalkboard. Everything I've just suggested to you is my equivalent to your nails on a chalkboard. Neurotypical people think nails on a chalkboard is the most horrible sound. I'm saying you sniffing, or when you have the sniffles, that's like nails on a chalkboard. I hope that helps put it in perspective. Repetitive like clicking and tapping. God help me. Some people think it's rhythmic. It's rhythmic. Whoa, I got my pen and I'm clicking. Here we go. Let me get this. I like. Oh, I'm clicky. Hey, shut up. You're not a musician. You can barely work a pen. Shut up. The clicking of the pens. My big trigger is keyboards. Someone help me with the key. Someone makes, are there silent keyboards? Because no one's using them. That's the problem, okay? Like, and you get someone has a laptop out. It's I honestly, there's no use for me going to a library if I'm studying at uni or something. When I did, there's no use me going to the library to study. Like people say, you're supposed to, because all you hear. By the way, it's supposed to be a quiet place. Oh, you can't talk in here. No talking, guys. No talking. But then you take a decibel reader in there. I guarantee it's like concert level of people clicking the bloody keyboard on their laptops. I'm not joking. I put it to the university libraries, the school libraries. What you police with regards to, quiet areas is an utter joke. Oh, no, you can't talk here, mate. It's a quiet area. Oh, no worries. What about the 40 people banging at their laptops, right? As if they're typing out their final, last, angry resignation letter. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, these noises, they seem subtle to some. Whatever. They're not subtle to us. They are incredibly distracting for people who experience misophonia. Right? So not only irritation and rage, but they affect us. I can't go to the study. I can't go to the library. I can't use the quiet areas because the quiet areas aren't quiet. The quiet areas still have, so people are on their phones, click, 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 or on their laptops. What do you mean they're quiet areas? What you mean is they're no talk areas. Now that's different. See, neurotypical people think people don't talk, that's going to be quiet. For autistic people or people that experience misophonia or DST in general, hang on a second, quiet means no sounds. That's a big difference. I'm the king of being irritated. They call me Dr. Irritation. They don't. Rustling of bags. Don't do that, mate. No. No. You're moving, or the way you touch certain things. What? Sometimes people, they're having their dinner and their cutlery goes on their plate. What are you doing? It's just, you get it and you put it in your mouth. What's this? Sometimes I'll actually say it to my autistic son, mate, you can't eat the bowl, buddy. Or, the plate's not for lunch. Once the food's gone, that's it. What are you trying to do? The second course isn't the glassware. Right? People just talking certain sounds, the way people say certain things. People can be noisy talkers. Don't start me on people with their noisy talkers. I don't mean their words. I mean their face. Like hitting a microphone. Their face kind of moves on, and their lips, or it's dry, which is even worse. Don't even start me on if you looked at them and you saw what's going on there. Like, what's all the white stuff in the corners there, guys? Can you clean your mouth when you talk? It's disgusting. Oh, my goodness. So this just makes life impossible. Navigating social, public settings, whatever, it's just so challenging. You know, by the way, before we move on to strategies to help you, because that's what we're all about here, there are visual triggers. I understand misophonia is about sounds, but it could also include visual triggers. Okay, so what's an example? Well, how about if you're seeing someone repeatedly do something, repeatedly. You know what I'm saying? They're bouncing up and down. Oh, you might kick your leg out, right? Or chewing gum or something. You're seeing them do it before you hear it. That will then amplify the hearing. Is there a string attached to your foot and someone else is pulling it? I don't know. I'm going to go cut it if I need to. Not the leg, the string. Chill out. So, it amplifies the emotional response to the sound. Here are some practical strategies, my friends, to help you navigate life with misophonia. Or, in general, DST, daylight savings time. Huh? Sorry, You can't see the corner there, that person that's definitely 100% there. Yeah, they're telling me that it's not that. Something about decreased sound. You know what? Daylight savings time is better, so shut up. There's no one there. All right, here we go. The first thing is, and this doesn't work for a lot of autistic people, but it's worth pointing out, CBT. Not ABA, no. Cognitive behavioral therapy. What's this about? It's really about confronting your triggers, rationalizing your triggers. Okay, so it helps you identify what they are and then kind of reframe your reaction to them, through patterns and your behaviors associated with those triggers. But look, let me say this. This is a tool that can be used and, it's worthwhile trying it. And I have no evidence, no research to back this up. But can I just say this? In my opinion, from just living and breathing as myself, with many, monthly psychology sessions for years, and also you're seeing my child/son, autistic child, my autistic chun. Take it. It's a new word. You can have it, my friends. What I'm trying to say is it doesn't seem to resonate. It doesn't seem to connect. Our brain doesn't go, oh, yeah, that sound makes me angry because of this pattern and this identification and this association. It's like, no, just the sound. You hear that sound? There's no trauma related here. There's no issues, no triggers, no. Just that sound makes me angry. Why? Because it was a sound I didn't want to hear. You can't really CBT out of that. So it's tricky. Again, like I said, no proof, no evidence. I just don't know if CBT works for the autistic brain the way people think it does. And, that's not an argument I'm trying to have because I don't have anything to back it up. But it seems like a lot of medical professionals out there just think, no, we don't really care. It'll work on you because it works on everyone else. But that is just the stupidest argument. Anyway, it is actually a tip because it may work for you. And I don't want to rule you out by just saying it won't work. Nevertheless, sound therapy. Is that the same? It could be, but slightly different, more tailored to you. So it's about controlled exposure to the kind of sounds that may trigger you. You're trying to desensitize those sounds and triggers over time. Now, maybe it will help you lessen that intensity of emotional and physical reactions. But again, like CBT, the effectiveness is going to come down to really how it connects with you and your brain. All right, more realistic, practical tips. Earplugs, noise-cancelling headphones, these types of tools that can block out triggering sounds. They are absolute gold when you are going into environments. Triggers will be there and it's going to be pretty hard to avoid them, right? So whether it's, busy places, offices, schools, public places, different, meetings, parties, get-togethers, that kind of stuff. There's all sorts of technology out there these days and you know about them. The earplugs, earbuds, noise-cancelling headphones, noise filtering earphones. But they can reduce the intensity of certain frequencies without actually blocking all the sound, allowing you to stay engaged in your environment. Because that's one of the downsides here. People automatically go to autistic people, just block the world out. It's like what you're telling me is to help me, you're saying don't be a part of the world. Now, that doesn't help an autistic person. Oh, yeah, just put these headphones on. You won't hear anything. You won't be triggered. Yes, but then I won't be living in the world. That's not what I'm asking for. So, yeah, it's just another failure in the system to include autistic people. You could practice different relaxation techniques. We talk about this a lot. Deep breathing, meditation, yoga. These types of, what would you call them? Present self-centering type of techniques. And they can help you calm down those responses. And that's what you want, because the nervous system just goes crazy. And no one wants to feel like that. No one wants the cortisol pumping through their body. That's the key to an early death, my friend. You take breaks in quiet spaces when you need to. Listen to your favorite music. That might calm you. And by the way, calming music to you might be like heavy metal to me. Doesn't matter. Another practical strategy you can use to overcome or at least navigate misophonia is being honest and open about your needs. You've got to talk openly about the conditions you have. I know it's hard, but it's impossible to expect people to help you if they don't know why they need to help you, right? So this can be with loved ones, family, friends, partner, your co-workers, whatever. You have to be open and honest about them. Why? Well, for starters, they're going to understand more. We always talk about, I don't care about this awareness. Everything has an awareness day or an awareness month, but they don't actually do anything to make it aware. They just say it. But the only way to truly be aware of something is to truly understand something, right? You need to understand something. You can be aware of something and have no idea about it. So you have to allow them to understand what it is you go through and why it is you go through it. And then they can help you create more supportive environments. They can adjust. They can minimize triggering sounds or, help with coming up with solutions. And that flows into another tip, seeking support from others, as in you can find your tribe. People, they might be autistic, they might have ADHD, they might also experience misophonia. Okay, all this kind of sound intolerance or whatever, daylight savings time, whatever the hell it is, DST. You see what I'm saying? But talking to people who experience it, rather than deny it, who validate it, can support you. Online communities, support groups, connecting with people who truly understand what you're going through. You can share bad stories, war stories, strategies, hearing their stories, resonating and supporting each other. Another one is finding a quiet zone that you can call your own regardless of where you are, at home, at work, at school. So there's some sort of space where you can go to retreat when you kind of feel overwhelmed because of the types of triggers that you're hearing, okay? And kind of provide yourself with some regulation. How about healthy distractions? Me likey. Engaging in healthy distractions. Yep, I'm talking activities that bring you joy, my friend, that relax you. So what is it for you? Is it gaming, writing, painting, reading, listening to music, going for a walk? Like there's got to be something. Exercising, hanging out with your animals, your pets. These are the things that are going to help you refocus yourself. They're going to provide you with an opportunity to, if you have been triggered, to re-regulate yourself or to provide yourself with an opportunity to kind of build up your tolerance. And they're a great outlet, by the way. If you're just feeling stressed, anxious, angry, rage, whatever, great outlet. Go and do one of your healthy distractions. Best way to break out of the cycle, I reckon. You've got to prioritize your well-being. Take care of you overall. Well-being is essential if you have misophonia because it comes down to what are you doing to help you through this? Did you get enough sleep? Are you practicing good sleep hygiene? In other words, same to similar bedtime every night, same amount of sleep every night. Are you setting good boundaries to protect yourself from the things in life that dysregulate you? Are you providing yourself time for your passions and special interests and activities and distractions? You have to take these into consideration. This is about you taking the lead in helping you. Now, have you heard of those machines that make like the background noise? Like we had a couple for our boys when they were little, and you can push a button and it's like a stream and a river and the rainforest and white noise and these kind of background noise, white noise machines. Some say that using white noise or nature sounds or even kind of a soft instrumental music can help just mask the sound. So we're talking about there are triggering sounds, but if you have like that background noise or white noise machine in your area, it kind of masks it, dulls it out to a way that maintains more of that kind of consistent, soothing environment. But this practical tip may seem a little out there, but I do it actually pretty much every night in bed to wind down. We're talking about practicing progressive muscle relaxation or PMR for short. This technique involves tensing and then relaxing muscle groups. I do it with my legs. I get in bed at night. I tense up my legs. Like I literally tense up my legs. Does gas slip out sometimes? It's alleged. You can blame it on anyone else or anything else. It's the cat, right? Whatever. And then you slowly release. I can't tell you why, but there's something about it that's just really positive. So tensing your legs or your arms or your upper body and then relaxing it, it helps release tension. So practicing progressive muscle relaxation regularly, I think actually can really help you with stress relief. And it's a great thing to do, in my opinion, every day and at nighttime. Or if you suddenly feel really, really stressed, like tight, go harder. Tense up that tight part of your body. Honestly, it's like you're getting all the tension and you're just pushing it out. It's worth a try. Plan your environment. So, you're going to choose environments that minimize your exposure to triggers. This can be at restaurants, going out, social gatherings. You get the point. Another one is you could establish sound-free times. So quiet times within your family or your friends or your partner or work or whatever it is. So it's kind of like agreements. Yep, quiet hour now. Like specific sound-related boundaries. So, this is my time where we're not going to have these particular triggering sounds. And that's just about working together to create a peaceful environment, which really is helpful for everyone. Everyone likes quiet time. Also, it's important to look at, pre-trigger plans. So you can identify situations where triggers are going to occur. I'm going to this place, there's going to be some triggers, right? You plan ahead. Does that make sense? You bring things will help you. You may even want to, ahead of time, give them a heads up that, there's a couple of things they could easily do to help you. Or let them know, look, at some point, if I just excuse myself, I'll just leave or walk out or go for quiet time. It's not about you. Don't be offended. I'm just letting you know there's certain sounds that trigger me and I'll always come back. Or I might not. It depends on how bad it is. It's also important to actually have boundaries, time limits on these kind of triggering environments. There's no use going to places are going to have triggering sounds and you're not giving yourself boundaries or time limits. It doesn't make any sense. It's going to happen, whether it's, dinner at a friend's or a party or the workplace or a get-together or a function or whatever it is, at the shops, the playground, the park, whatever. We're just going to go in there and just chill out. No. Right. Okay, I'm going to go for an hour. If I can stay any longer, sure. If I have to leave earlier, I will. But you're making a conscious effort to let everyone know this is your intention and you're going to do whatever you can to reduce your exposure to these kind of triggering sounds. And when you don't have those expectations, what happens? You experience prolonged exposure, which is the worst case scenario. And the final strategy, I reckon, is really important. What do you do after? You need to create some sort of plan or ritual of after the exposure of these triggering sounds. What's going to help you? What's going to calm you? What's going to help you come out of that triggering environment? Anger, rage, agitation, frustration, whatever it is. How can you mitigate its effects once it's happened? This is, again, you've got the pre-plan, but then you should also have, but look, if it still happens, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go get a coffee, or I'm just going to go for a walk, or I'm going to go up to a quiet room and just game for a while, right? So there's the pre-planned stuff. There's also I have been exposed, I have been triggered, what will I do? And it's like ritualistic. You always do the same thing. There are so many unique ways autism can manifest. And really, we're just scratching the surface. So to learn even more, check out my video, 64 Common Autistic Traits You Never Realized Were Signs of Autism.